All right, and boom, ladies and gentlemen, what is up? It's me, J Rod, the filmmaker, former film major, frequent fighting gamer from Philadelphia, and this is a pretty exciting video because I will be reacting to the new trailer for Superman. Not only will I be reacting to Superman, but I will also be reviewing the full movie when it comes out because this is another episode of First and Final. If you've never seen a First and Final before, if this is your first time, don't make it your final time. But basically, it's a two-part video where I take my first reaction and my final review and I put them together. So this video, I'm reacting to this like 3 days after the trailer dropped, but I won't be uploading it until the full movie is released. Don't know if there's a release date attached to it yet already, or at least a time window. But if so, I'm going to put it on the schedule and I'm going to prepare for my final review whenever this movie does come out. Like I said, this is about 3 days after the trailer dropped, and I was kind of brave for doing that because it almost got spoiled for me. I almost missed the opportunity to do a genuine reaction because I was watching a Twitch stream, and during the ad break, this trailer came up. So I had to completely look away, close the laptop, avert my eyes so that it wasn't spoiled, so I could give you guys my genuine first reaction to this Superman trailer. Now, why did I wait 3 days? No particular reason why I waited 3 days, but I want to be upfront and honest with you guys from the beginning. I consider myself a Superman hater. I am a card-carrying, registered Superman hater. I don't care. I don't care. You can boo me if you want. But the reason why, I've made like videos about this on like TikTok, and the reason why I consider myself a Superman hater is because I think as time has gone on, since he's one of the most popular characters, he's had some of the most stories written about him, some of the most writers. He's had some of the most movies and TV shows of any character in superhero history. I think over time he's just become less and less relatable. He's gotten more abilities over time, and every time Superman encounters a new internal or external conflict, the solution is really just, you're strong, beat it. Not even just like physically strong, but if he comes across an enemy that seems stronger than him, at the end of the movie or show, it'll turn out that no, Superman was actually stronger. He just had to believe in himself. He had to dig deep. He had some superhero power that he didn't even know he had, that he was just waiting for it to unlock. Or he has like a Super Saiyan mode. Like, this dude is the living embodiment of plot armor. And the stronger they make Superman, the less relatable I think he becomes to me, because it just feels like there are no good conflicts for Superman, whether internal or external, to come across, because he already has every tool he needs to defeat every enemy. And because of that, he does not seem relatable to me. Whereas you look at a character like maybe Spider-Man. Spider-Man has a lot of powers. He's also very popular and has been in a lot of movies, had a lot of writers over time. But there are still challenges that Spider-Man faces that he has to come up with another way to defeat it, whether it's using his brain, whether it's using his agility, or it's using his powers in an unexpected way. I like that sense of overcoming and innovation with Spider-Man that I feel like Superman does not have. Because of that, he's not as interesting to watch. And despite the fact that I believe he's become less interesting over time, he's just getting more and more stuff. Superman always has something, a TV show, a movie. He's always going to have a comic book run. He's always going to be in some sort of something. And so I just feel like, I've said this before, I feel like the DC Comics should take a long break from Superman and Batman so that they can expose us to more heroes, because Superman and Batman have gotten like hundreds of movies over the years, whereas some characters have never even got a single movie. Since James Gunn has taken over the DCU, it's gotten a lot better, and we're seeing a lot more like characters we never knew about get spotlight, like with Creature Commandos, like with Suicide Squad, Isekai, or with Peacemaker. We are seeing a lot more new characters come into the forefront, but we're still seeing a lot of Superman and Batman. Now, while I am a registered Superman hater, that does not mean that I'm going to hate everything Superman is in, because honestly, I love My Adventures with Superman, the animated series. It made me actually like the character again. It's one of the first Superman medias that I actually genuinely enjoyed in years. And so I do have faith that Superman can still be written in a way that is interesting and that does make me like and relate to the character. It's just not always the case. So with all that being said, I'm optimistic for this new iteration of Superman, but I'm also reserving my right to be a Superman hater. I will hate on it if I want to hate on it, but I will like it if I want to like one. I'm not letting myself be biased to that. So with all that disclaimer, all that being said, we're going to get into it with my first reaction. Without further ado, let's get into it with my reaction to the Superman official teaser trailer. Okay, good start. Oh, I thought it was a superhero landing, and bro just crashed out, literally. Alright, we gotta look at him as Clark Kent. Going into work. Who beat his ass like that? Who did that? His Lois Lane, I assume. That is true. James Gunn did direct those. His Pa Kent. It just feels like paint by numbers at this point, you know? Who is he whistling to? Begins. They could have called it. Oh, Crypto.
Home. Take me home.
He's gonna take him. Wait, is he gonna drag him through the snow? I want to see that scene. Lex Luthor. Is that Nicholas Hoult? It is. Hey yo. Superman. Bro, he ate that. That didn't even hurt. Oh, that Guy Gardner and I think Mr. Terrific? A robot? What the fuck was that? Oh, he is dragging him through the snow. Interesting. There's a lot going on in this very short trailer. July 11th, and we do have a date. That's good to know, so I can put this on the calendar. I'm gonna replay it on mute. I don't. Okay, so while I gave that whole spiel, and you guys are probably wondering, did I like that? Did I hate that? Where do I fall? Where does it hit for me? I'm kind of indifferent on it. I didn't see anything in this trailer that made me excited. I didn't see anything in this trailer that made me disappointed. It seemed like the origin of Superman seems very paint by numbers at this point, where it looks like we're going to get a Lois Lane, we're going to get a Daily Planet, we're going to get a Ma Pa Kent scene. I don't know if they're going to go all the way back to the origins, and we're going to get like the baby in the pod and the Krypton exploding. We got Lex Luthor. I like the fact that we're getting seemingly a Green Lantern and Mr. Terrific in this. And part of the thing, whenever they do something like that, like they introduce two new characters that have all this established lore and they are like pretty powerful superheroes in their world, I want the explanation of, do those characters get an origin, or is it just like we're suspending our disbelief to the fact that superheroes already exist in this world? There's the known superheroes, there's the unknown superheroes, and while this is Superman's origin, characters like Green Lantern and Mr. Terrific are already known quantities in this universe. I honestly don't have any opinions, like good or bad, on this. We got Nicholas Hoult as Lex Luthor. I'm just really not. This is probably the first time in First and Final history. Oh, I didn't even notice Hawk Girl. And whatever the hell was going on outside the window in that scene, was that Starro or something? But while there's so much going on, there was nothing that got me excited. Also, who is he fighting in that scene? Someone else who's also strong? Yeah, nothing that got me excited, and also nothing that got me disappointed. It's going to be like a wait and see. I'm going to have to wait and actually see the full thing till I give my full opinions on this, I don't think it's gonna be bad or anything. I'll preface that. I think James Gunn really understands superhero media. He really understands the characters that he writes, and so I'm hoping that we get Superman in this in a way we've never seen him before. I think where I'm worried is there's a possibility that we don't get him in a way we haven't seen before. We just get another iteration. Like, for some people, Man of Steel was the be-all, end-all, but even for me, Man of Steel was okay. It was fine. It wasn't amazing or anything, in my opinion. I just think for me, I don't think there's anything they can really do with Superman to innovate and to revolutionize the character. I think they can just do what they've been doing over and over again and try to make it good. So there's a possibility, it'll have good writing, it'll have good directing, good acting, good CGI, good set design, production design, and all of that will be good, but still, it probably won't impress me as a superhero movie unless it does something that other superhero or Superman movies specifically, unless it does something that other Superman movies haven't done or can't do or whatever. So I am indifferent on that Superman teaser trailer. I don't feel any way about it, to be completely honest. I know that might be a bit disappointing for some of y'all who will love it or some of y'all who hate it, but I just feel indifferent towards it. So hopefully the final film will actually make me feel something. Whether it's good or bad, I think I would just like to feel something with this movie. Even if I don't like it, I'll be appreciative that it made me feel that I don't like it. But it's just this feeling of indifference right now is not, I don't know. It's boring. I'll say that. It won't make for good content, but I gotta be honest with you guys about how I feel. I never pretend to be excited, and I never pretend to hate on something just for a video. I give you guys my honest opinion because that's honestly the easiest way to do it. But that's going to be it for this one for right now, you guys. But I'm going to pass it over to myself in the future. Before you guys see my final review, and spoiler-free and spoiler-filled, tell me how you're feeling about the teaser trailer. I know that this part of the video won't come out for like 7 months, but you can still tell me how you guys felt about the teaser trailer, and then you can tell me how you felt about the final film and see if your thoughts are similar to mine or not. But I'm going to pass it off to myself in the future, and the way I'm going to do that is I heard that if you spin around the world really fast, if I get my friend Clark to fly me around the world really fast forwards, then that'll actually advance time by 7 months, and I will show up when this movie is out, and I will check it out. And I'll come right back for my review. If you ever wonder how I make these videos, I just use time travel, I do the first reaction, time travel, do the final, and then go back to the day that I shot the first reaction so that I can continue to live my life as normally. But that is going to be it for this part. I'm going to pass it over to myself in the future and tell you guys if my opinions have changed in my final review of Superman. It's just titled Superman. It was called Superman Legacy. Oh, you know what? I'll tell you this. I didn't actually say this part during the trailer, but I think Crypto looks cool. I think Crypto's going to be a fun character in this. He's a dog. I think he's going to be adorable. So, yeah, I'll pass it up to myself in the future and let you guys know how I really feel about the full movie Superman by DC. All right, and boom, ladies and gentlemen, it's me, J-Rod. I'm back with my final thoughts of Superman. I have seen the movie, and I've also had a little bit of time to marinate on it. I saw the movie last weekend when it came out. I saw it on Thursday. Came out officially on Friday, but they do Thursday showings of it, because I didn't want anyone to spoil Superman for me. I didn't even want to hear anyone's reviews or opinions of the movies. I always try to go into my review completely blind to anyone else's reviews because I want to make sure that they are my original thoughts only and that nobody else's opinions of the movie kind of seep into my psyche, and I'm thinking about that. So I tried not to actually check out any other reviews, any other opinions, so that minds can hold up. But it was hard because a lot of people are talking about Superman 2025. I think that's a good thing, and I'm going to give you guys my final thoughts right now. I had a lot to say, during my first reaction. I have a lot to say during my final thoughts. But I think we should just start with this. So I'm going to start off with my spoiler-free thoughts. I'm going to get into the spoilers, and then we're going to get up out of here. And like I said, I had a lot to say. So let's do it. My spoiler-free thoughts of this film is that it was way better than I thought it would be. It was better than it had any right to be. James Gunn knows exactly what he's doing with this character. And this is my favorite Superman maybe ever. I'm going to be completely honest with you guys. This is my favorite Superman ever because I didn't really care about Man of Steel. I didn't really care about Superman Returns. I didn't really care about any portrayal of Superman since I was like very, very young. And this is the part of the reason why I say I am a Superman hater. I still consider myself a Superman hater, y'all, because I feel like the character has gotten bland, has gotten boring, but I think I kind of forgot about all of those things when I was watching this film, and I was just watching a really good story, a really good film. And I think at the end of, like in the beginning of the film, you know it's a Superman film, but slowly but surely you forget that it's a Superman film until it's over and you're like, that was actually what I have been looking for from a Superman film for a long time. I don't mind like the very generic truth and justice motto, creed, code that Superman has. And I think that in our modern superhero landscape, that's very necessary. You know, every superhero should start with truth and justice and then build on it from there. But I think that we've gotten so far removed from just like the classic origins of superheroes that we take that truth and justice thing for granted. Superman kind of takes that and reinvents that, doesn't take it for granted, shows us that it is really important in our modern landscape. It's really necessary. And James Gunn makes just a really good movie based around that. The humanity of Superman is what this is all about. And I think that a lot of people focus on the abilities of Superman, the superpowers of Superman. People focus on the power ceiling of Superman. How strong can he get? How many things can he do? But I think that they are ignoring the fact, you know, the humanity of Superman and the fact that him being human is what makes him Superman, not him being powerful. And I think that's what this film is all about. James Gunn, I have said before, but he really does understand his characters and he understands how to make an effective story with those characters. He's understood that since, well before Guardians of the Galaxy, but I would say we all recognized his abilities during the Guardians of the Galaxy trilogies and how he took those characters and he really understood them, even characters that the general public didn't even know about at the time, and made them household names. And he continued to do that with the Suicide Squad and kind of redeeming that franchise with characters that nobody was really looking for, Bloodsport and Peacemaker and Polka Dot Man and Weasel and, you know, things like that. And he continues to do so in this film with Superman. And while you think like all he has to do is get Superman right, it's a Superman movie, all it has to do is be a good portrayal of Superman. While it is a good Superman movie and a good portrayal of Superman, there is so much more. There are so many more characters here. All of them get their own ways to shine and places to shine in this. Even more than we know it's a Superman film going in, but then when I saw that first trailer, we saw Krypto. We got a little bit of a teaser of Guy Gardner, Mr. Terrific, Hawkgirl. But as we got closer and closer to reveal, more characters started to show up, and it's like, wait, Metamorpho is in this, or like his portrayal of Jimmy Olsen in this is really good, or like the engineer, someone who we really didn't expect, and Ultraman, their portrayals in this film are really good. So I think that James Gunn really does understand story and characters, and that really shines through in Superman 2025, and that is the reason why I think it is really successful. It's really good for what it tries to do. This is the most comic book film I have seen ever. I think ever. This is the most comic book film ever. It is so ripped right out of a comic book. The portrayals, the action, the panels, like the way that they do these really cool all this really good camera work that James Gunn does in the intense Superman action scenes, all of that just seems like something that we were never have been able to conceive in movies, in film, and in reality if it wasn't for what they did in the comics. And that is one of the reasons why I think it's so successful. It is just it doesn't need to make comics more realistic. It doesn't need to make comics more dark and moody. It really just takes comics and tries to make them reality. There is no adaptation. It is just kind of translation, in my opinion. If you are a Superman fan, like a diehard Superman fan, this movie is for you. It's a love letter for you. There's so much in here to sink your teeth into. But if you are like me and you like movies, but you don't know about Superman, you think his shtick is kind of getting old, I think you'll still be impressed with the movie that is here, because I certainly was. And I went into it indifferent. Like I said in my reaction, I didn't know if I was going to like it or hate it, but I was open for either way, and I ended up really liking this film. But that's all I can say without spoilers, so we're going to get into the spoilers now. Like I said, I have a lot to say, and I didn't write anything down, so hopefully I can get all of my thoughts together. Official spoiler warning, this is your spoiler alert. Spoilers are incoming ahead after this. But just to talk about the story, one thing that I loved about the story is that this is a DC universe. This is a story, a Superman story that is already in progress when the movie begins. Okay, so in this universe, it's established when the film starts that metahumans already exist. Superman is already a known quantity in this world. And that sort of like jumping into a universe that has already started did wonders for this story. We did not have to spend a lot of time with the origin story that we've already known and seen 100 times, but we do still get elements of that origin story as they are important to the story that is going on in the film. So I appreciated that we didn't have to see Krypton blow up. We didn't have to see Superman be a baby and grow up on the Kent farm. We didn't have to see the discovery of metahumans. We didn't have to see the origins of metahumans or anything. All of that was already there, and that just did so much wonders for like your world building, your sense of fantasy, and your sense of like, now we're curious of like, what was it like when the first metahuman was revealed? You know, what was it like when Superman for the first time was shown to the public? What was it like when Lois Lane first figured out that Clark Kent was Superman? Did she figure it out, or did he tell her, or was it just fate? And all of these things are not explicitly answered in the film, but that's good because it kind of gives us a sense of wonder. It lets our imagination run wild with, you know, how did this universe get to this point? And I don't think we needed the required, you know, origin story. I don't think that we needed the prerequisite, because a lot of people going to see this film already know the origins of Superman. So I appreciate that we didn't have to stop our story at hand to try and spoon feed another version of Superman's origins. Something that I was actually worried about going into this film was we're gonna reboot again. We're gonna origin again. We're gonna start all over from the beginning again. I like that this start from the beginning is actually already a bit in progress, and they kind of work in a bit of the other DC property, James Gunn world. Peacemaker making a cameo in this was not something I expected, but then once it happened, it was like, okay, obviously that seems like actually a pretty good get. The Peacemaker part of the universe is already well underway. You know, the Suicide Squad technically is like the start of James Gunn's DC universe, and it's continued in the Peacemaker series and in Creature Commandos. I appreciated a world that feels like it is already underway. It's already pretty big and pretty dense, and we are just diving further into it. Once you get outside of the main characters, there is a gold mine of characters and characterization in this movie with the Justice Gang. So we have Nathan Fillion as Guy Gardner, we have Mr. Terrific, we have Isabella Merced as Hawkgirl, and Hawkgirl doesn't do much in this except for, okay, Mr. Terrific and Hawkgirl aura farming the entire time. That's all they were there to do. Guy Gardner, negative aura. That is all he was there to do, and it works so well. Guy Gardner is like pretty embarrassing but also kind of cool at the same time. Like, he constantly fluctuates between, oh, guy, why would you do or say that? But when you need him, when he has to come through in a clutch, he does come through in a clutch. I thought it was hilarious that, like, the effects for the Green Lantern are really good. Nathan Fillion is doing a really good portrayal, but at the same time, Guy is just kind of stupid when he's using his powers, and he cannot think of anything outside of, let's make a big blunt object and hit the enemy with it. I thought that was pretty funny, and that goes to show James Gunn understands Guy Gardner's character. I think he understands the world in general, Green Lanterns in general, but he really understood why Guy Gardner would make a good Green Lantern for this, because Guy Gardner, the purpose he serves in this is kind of being the antithesis of Superman. He is a lot more clumsy, goofy, obsessed with the attention, does not really care about handling things in the best manner. He just wants to get it over and done with, get paid, and move on. So I think that he serves a really good purpose, just as showing us the character traits that Superman could have but doesn't. Mr. Terrific, damn near, I've heard a lot of people say Mr. Terrific stole this movie. Mr. Terrific is a breakthrough performance. This damn near was a Mr. Terrific movie. I mean, Superman was there and he was front and center, and the movie was about him, but this could have easily been a Mr. Terrific film just because of the amount of aura, but also the fact that he is actually really important to the story and that they let him actually do things. He really is saving the day on a more scientific, technical level. Like, he knows what is going on and what needs to be done to fix what is going on. I love how capable Mr. Terrific is, and I love how cool they made him. I was never like a huge Mr. Terrific fan. I've seen him here and there. There is like his Arrowverse portrayal by Echo Kellum that I kind of think about. You know, that's one of the portrayals that got me a little bit more interested in the character. But damn, I did not know how cool this character could be until this movie. And he is really cool as far as what he can do, his abilities, his capabilities, but also just personality-wise. He is coming in here, I'm goddamn Mr. Terrific. He's pushing people out of the way. He's pushing people. He's like, I know what I'm doing. And that capability is another really good characterization. Whereas I think like Superman kind of stands in between Mr. Terrific and Guy Gardner, where Guy Gardner doesn't really know what he's doing all the time, but he will fake it till he make it. Mr. Terrific almost always knows what he's doing, but kind of needs a little bit more power. Like, he realized he needs to surround himself with people who have the powers, the capabilities, the abilities to execute his plans and what need to be done. Superman kind of falls in the middle, where he is very capable, very powerful, but he also cares a little bit more about the attention to detail than Guy Gardner does. The Justice Gang is a really cool addition to this, and I would love to see them in more stuff. Yes, you know, there's the fact that they're not necessarily the Justice League. They're not the Justice Society. They're something different. Maybe they could become the Justice League in the future. But I think for right now, the Justice Gang is just exactly what this movie needed. And then there is the special final member, Metamorpho. Like I said, I did not expect Metamorpho in this film. Didn't know he was in it until I saw the film. I actually saw Anthony Carrigan, who plays Metamorpho, in the press tour. Had no idea who he was going to be, so I was just really excited. I thought maybe he was Ultraman underneath that mask and that hood. But once I found out he was Metamorpho, I think that they used him really well in this movie, and I think that he just looks he looks like he stepped right out of a comic. But I think Metamorpho is a good example of that, really, how this is one of the most comic book films I've ever seen, because he looks ripped right out of a comic book. And he was a really good addition, because I like how, you know, another character that we wouldn't expect to be a beloved household name is now going to become one because of James Gunn. And that is what he has been doing in the Marvel Universe. That's what he's been doing since he came over to the DC Universe. And I think that's what he's going to continue to do throughout the evolution of the DC Universe. But now let's talk a little bit about the villains. All right. Lex Luthor, the Engineer, and Ultraman. Honestly, the Engineer and Ultraman were kind of just there so that Superman had like a physical rival, had someone to go against physically. They were a little bit underdeveloped as far as the story, but with so many characters, side characters in the periphery on the other side, I understand they didn't really have time to develop the Engineer or Ultraman as much as they might have wanted to. They were fun. Visually, they were really good. I think when I first saw clips of like the Engineer fighting, I thought maybe this was like Mercy Graves or someone else from the comics. So I'm not too familiar with the Engineer, so I can't say if this portrayal is spot on or anything, but I did think she was a cool addition just for those really good action scenes. Same thing with Ultraman. And then there was the reveal that Ultraman is a clone of Superman that Lex Luthor made. That has a lot of implications going forward. That could lead to Superboy, that could lead to Bizarro, that could lead to damn near anything. And we don't really know. I think in the end he gets sent into that other dimension, or maybe he gets absorbed into the neutron lake or whatever they called it. I don't know what his overall outcome was at the end. But I do think that is something that they can definitely call back to in future movies, whether it's for Superboy, whether it's for Bizarro, or whether it's something else. But those two, the villains did feel a little underdeveloped compared to the protagonists. And then there was Lex Luthor himself, and I will say, it's not a perfect movie. My complaint is Nicholas Holt's Lex Luthor. I don't think he did a bad job acting. And I get what they were going for, a really over-the-top comic booky Lex Luthor villain, but there were some times where I think the portrayal was a little too over the top. It got a little for me. I like Nicholas Hoult as an actor, but I don't know if I see Lex Luthor. It could just be the fact that this is a very overused Superman villain, and I've seen more portrayals of Lex Luthor that are bad than I have seen good portrayals. And this is a good portrayal, but it is it's not the best portrayal, right? I don't think that Lex Luthor in this is as good as David Cornswet's Superman, as good as Mr. Terrific, Guy Gardner, and all of that. While I think he's doing the best he can with the script and in the role, I was taken out of it a couple of times during Nicholas Holt's performance as Lex Luthor. I mean, the comic booky billionaire villain violence stuff was honestly what you expect from Lex Luthor, but I think like having him play Russian roulette with a random citizen off the street, shoot the guy in the head, and then just kind of move on and never ever mention any of that again, that was kind of where it started to lose me. I think they were doing a little too much to sell that he is this super comic book villain, when I believed it from the very beginning. I believed it as soon as I saw Lex Luthor. Like, I know what that means. I know what him being a billionaire means and hating Superman means. I did believe the hate. The hate was palpable. His hate for Superman was believable. But I think because this might be the one area where it did need a little bit of origin. I would have liked to see Lex Luthor's first time seeing Superman and developing that hate and where it all stems from. I don't want a full origin, but that could have been one of the flashbacks or origin setups that would have paid off a little bit better in the end. So the villains, I would say, are maybe the weaker point of this film for me, but it's not about them. It is about the guy. It is about the titular character, and it is about all the other heroes that surround him. And they did a lot, man. Like, there is a really good Superman story here. There is also a really good story for Lois Lane here and the rest of the people at the Daily Bugle. There's a fun, like, investigation story. Then there's like a news breaking story. There is also a story for a lot of the side characters, Jimmy Olsen and Lex Luthor's girlfriend. There's a fun story here for Metamorpho and baby Joey, his big head green ugly baby. And I think like it's a short story for Metamorpho, but it is a full character arc of a story where he was imprisoned and he was being manipulated by Lex Luthor, and his baby Joey, his kid, was being held hostage, but he manages to switch sides, help Superman break out, and then join the Justice Gang and go and actually do some good and get an official spot on the team. That is the thing where, like, even though there's a lot of small characters in the periphery, none of them feel like they're just there just because. They all feel like they have a point, a part of the story that is preserved specifically for them, and they all feel like they drive the movie and the story forward. And so I wouldn't complain about any of the side characters, the portrayals, the side stories, the B plots, or nothing in this film. I think James Gunn just uses anything and everything to make the story as good as he can, and nothing really feels gratuitous or over the top except for some of the Lex Luthor stuff at times. Let's talk about Crypto. I think that we saw Crypto in that first trailer. We saw Crypto in almost every trailer after, but I didn't know how big of a part Crypto was going to play in this. And after watching it, I'm happy with the part that Crypto plays in this, because he is just near perfect. He is doing exactly what you want him to do. He is being a support and being a bit of a hero in his own right, but he's just being a dog, man. He's playing fetch. He's jumping on his owner. He's excited to see people. He is tearing up Mr. Terrific's T-spheres. Like, Crypto is another character and a good embodiment of James Gunn using every single part and every single character and every single thing to his disposal to make this a full, well-rounded Superman story, and it's all sort of working. Anything else? I think, and then in general, so the overall moral that I got from this part of the story, similar to something I said earlier in this review, is you would think that this is about Superman and his connection to Krypton and his connection to the House of El and him learning who he really is throughout this film, because that's what a lot of Superman films have been going for. But it is really about him and his connection to Earth and his connection to humanity, his connection to people. It's about Ma and Pa Kent. It is about that really being what makes Superman the Superman that we know, because there's a lot of Kryptonian characters. You know, there's Zod, there is Kara. We'll talk a little bit more about that. But I think that what makes Superman Superman is him being born and raised as a human, learning things like empathy, learning how to treat people, and learning how to be a hero from humans and what that means, and applying that to, yes, he's very powerful, he's very strong, and all of that is shown in this film. He's lifting so many buildings, he's fighting off so many enemies all at once, he's doing really cool spinneroonies, he's moving really fast, he's flying really fast, and all of that is expected. But the humanity is why he does what he does. The humanity is how he does what he does and why he continues to do what he does. And that's an important part of the character, probably the most important part in the modern day story. And I think James Gunn kind of nailed it. What else, before I get out of here, what else should I yap about? Okay, I just want to say this. The most underrated actor in all of DC is Alan Tudyk. If you guys didn't even peep Alan Tudyk was in this, it's because he lends his voice. He voices the robots that are in the Fortress of Solitude. But Alan Tudyk has been in DC Universe for so long, and he has been carrying. Like, Alan Tudyk, I don't know if you guys remember the show Powerless, which is a very underrated DC property. I would love if they found some way to bring that back. But Alan Tudyk used to carry that show as Batman's cousin, or Bruce Wayne's cousin, which is a really good role. Yeah, Alan Tudyk in Doom Patrol as Mr. Nobody, Alan Tudyk in Harley Quinn as I believe it's Clayface and Joker, Alan Tudyk playing Dr. Phosphorus in Creature Commandos, and I'm sure there are a bunch more Alan Tudyk DC roles that I am not even thinking of at the moment. But shout out to him. Even though he has a very small part in this movie, he has been integral to the DC universe even before James Gunn was on board, and I would love to see more and more Alan Tudyk in the DC universe. But I think that's it. I think I've said almost everything. I know I might forget something. Most comic book movie, Philly Superman. Yeah, I think with these movies, people pay too much attention to casting. And they think that casting is the end-all, be-all. And the way you make a good movie is you just find a guy that looks exactly like people's idea of Superman. That has almost nothing to do with it, and that has nothing to do with why this Superman movie is so good. This Superman movie is so good because of writing, because of directing, because of acting, not because of casting. I could actually care less. I've never seen David Cornswet in anything before this, right? I don't think casting has anything to do with why it's so good. I think it's the genuine care and concern for the characters, and the genuine knowledge of why this character is important, and what is this character going to bring to a modern day storyline. All of that is there. James Gunn knocks it out of the park. I would love to see him do more and more of it. And I still consider myself to be a Superman hater, but I will acknowledge when they get it right. And so far, of the Superman things that I've seen, this movie gets it right. My Adventures with Superman, the animated series, gets it right. And so I am starting to maybe warm up a little bit more to Superman in general. Maybe I am starting to shift over from a Superman hater to a Superman fan again. It's a little too early for me to say that, but I did really like this film. And I think it just renewed my faith that you can do a modern Superman take and it can be really good. It isn't just about making it realistic or making it grungy, or like, it's not about any of that, and it's not about making him all powerful either. It's not about making him seem like a god. It is about making him seem like a human, and I think this film understands that and portrays that really well. So for right now, I think that's everything that I had to say about Superman. If I can think of anything else, I might add it in there before this video goes up. But overall, the Too Long Didn't Read, my spoiler-free thoughts is this is a good movie. This is a really good movie. One of the best DC movies in a while. Matt Reeves' Batman was really good, and it puts me in a similar place where I was a Batman hater before I watched the Batman, but I really liked the Batman, and I started to come around on him. So I think that Matt Reeves' the Batman and James Gunn's Superman go together so well. They just really go back to what is important about these characters and what will a modern day take on these characters really bring. And they knocked it out of the park. They both did really good. So that is all I have to say for right now about the Superman film. Most comic book movie I have ever seen in my life. Best portrayal of Superman that I have ever seen. And yes, that includes Man of Steel. Man of Steel was kind of mid in my opinion. I'll just be honest. But it's okay if that was your favorite portrayal of Superman. It's okay if Superman Returns was your favorite, or the original, like the Christopher Reeves it's okay that everyone has their different preferences and takes on Superman. That's why it's important to make these movies and make them all very different, because you never know who is going to get their favorite portrayal of Superman when you make that new movie. And this one right here, I think, was for me. Philly Superman was for me. So that is all I have to say about this one, you guys. That is going to be my full review of Superman, spoiler free, spoiler filled, all of that all in one. But I want to hear what you guys think. What do you think about Superman? Even if you hated it, let me know. What exactly did you hate about it? Because me personally, I had some gripes with it, specifically like Lex Luthor and the villains being a bit underdeveloped. But I would love to hear what you guys thought about it. What did you like about it? What did you hate about it? What is your favorite version of the character? And what are any other thoughts that you guys want to hear, or you guys want me to hear from you? But that is going to be it from this one, you guys. Before we get out of here, do me a favor really quickly and hit me with a 3-hit combo. I need you to smash the like button like Superman, spear the subscribe button like Hawk Girl, kick the notification bell like Mr. Terrific if you enjoyed this review and reaction of Superman 2025, James Gunn's Superman. I don't know what we're gonna call it, but for right now I can just call it Superman. But yeah, that is gonna be it for this one, you guys. I should be streaming this weekend. I could be wrong. I'm going to have to recheck my dates, but I believe that Blink Respawn is this weekend, and they are going to be doing another Mortal Kombat tournament for the MK1 Pro Competition. It's been a little minute. We had a little bit of a break from Pro Competition after the last tournament, but we are back, and we are getting closer and closer to Final Combat. We've got EVO coming up next month. We've got Final Combat coming up before the end of the year, so that's what I'll be doing this weekend. But also next week, don't think that this is it for First and Final, because I have at least one more really big First and Final before this month is over. Next week we will be reacting to and reviewing Fantastic Four First Steps. I'm really excited for this one because this also has the potential to be one of the most comic book movies that I have ever seen. So I'm excited. I'm optimistic. We'll see how it goes. I'm still really enjoying Marvel movies. I don't have much superhero fatigue, and I think that this one is going to be important to the overall MCU moving forward. But I think Marvel has been doing pretty good this year. But that is going to be it for this one, you guys. So, you saw my first thoughts of Superman. You saw my final review of Superman. Tell me how you guys feel, and I will see you all next time. And then, before we get out of here, make sure you guys are subscribing. We just hit 860 subscribers. We passed that, and we are on our way to 900 subscribers. But that is going to be it for this one, you guys. So tell me how you feel. Tell me if you feel me, and I will see you next time in another new one. Peace out. I was cooking and I burnt the bacon. Will that reach? Will that punish? Oh, he just kept doing the string. He didn't stop at one hit. He put the whole fucking string out there. Shout out to you. Shout out to you. You had me worried when this set